For the best results, artists painting in watercolor must first control the characteristics of the paper itself, particularly the swelling, warping, and contraction when painting on lightweight papers. This is the reason why artists prepare their papers by stretching, taping, stapling, and other techniques. This is a short video on one alternative to pre-stretching watercolor paper. Perhaps because of my years working in illustration, my painting surfaces have always been flat and non-flexible. I never felt comfortable working on unstretched watercolor papers, but stretching, taping, stapling is a hassle and time-consuming. Plus, binder clips can get in the way because I like to rotate my work. This is why I prefer painting on watercolor blocks, because blocks with high-quality artist-grade papers can be expensive. So, I've begun making my own blocks of various sizes containing the papers and in the weights I prefer. This video will focus on how I turn traditional watercolor pads into blocks, eliminating the need for stretching, taping, stapling, or binder clips. Here I am featuring a favorite small 6 by 8 inch pad size. I prefer this size because it is inexpensive, easy to carry along on my travels, or while watching television. I have found this Master's Touch brand pad at Hobby Lobby for about $7. It's unusual in that it is a decent grade of acid-free cold-pressed paper. I have found that most pads of this size come in hot press only. I begin by trimming down 2 birch plywood panels cut to the size of the pads that I'll be working on. Sandwich the pads between the 2 pieces of birch plywood panel. I use 2 carpenter grade clamps, but you could use something like books or some other type of weight to keep this paper pad sandwich pressed together while the edges will be drying. In this arrangement, I'm prepping 3 pads at the same time. Like a traditional watercolor block, you'll want to indicate an area where glue will not be applied. For this, the glue that I will be using is any acrylic medium paste. With the pad sandwich now firmly compressed, I apply matte medium to both sides of the pads and the bottom, except for the area that will remain unglued as discussed earlier. Allow the pressed pads to dry overnight, and once dry, you can begin to remove the layers as you would a traditional watercolor block. Separate the plywood panels and the chipboard backs. Now you have a watercolor block that's glued on all 4 sides except the entry point at the bottom of the pad. One last step is to identify the pad so that when I leave the pad behind as I travel, I hopefully will be able to retrieve it at a later date. Now you can remove your finished artwork as you would any traditional watercolor block. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you learned how to create your own watercolor blocks while saving a lot of money and time as well.